In this tutorial, we're going to look at entrainment tracks in Mind Workstation. Now, if you are coming from a neural programmer background, if you previously used that program, this will be a part of Mind Workstation that is unique to this program and different from how it's handled in neural programmer. But if you are new to transparent corporation software in general, then this video will also be useful to lay out the meaning of entrainment tracks. Now, when you create a new session, a brand new session, empty session, all you're presented with on the screen is one single entrainment track. And that can be confusing to some new users because if you press play, nothing happens. And that is because there's no content. So if you added content like isochronic beats here, then you would hear them. All right, so it requires a content track, but these are linked to each other. The entrainment track is a controller track. So what that means is that the frequencies that, in this case, isochronic beats are being pulsed is set within the within the entrainment track here. And the frequency is 10 hertz all the way across. That's the default, and that's how it's first set up with just one node here. All right, so if you were to change this, dragging it up and down, then you would change that. And because these are linked, now I want you to notice that there is a little orange chain that comes up to show that they are linked to each other. Now, most of the content, tones, isochronic beats, monaural beats, binaural beats, harmonic box X, all of those are already assigned, in accord with entrainment, are already assigned the entrainment track, and that's controlled by this default here. So they are assigned the default entrainment track when you add them. So if I added harmonic box X, muted this one, then it would be pulsing at 10 hertz or use 10 hertz in its calculations. And it's linked here. So now we have two tracks that are linked. And you can verify that in track properties under entrainment controllers. Entrainment is the name of this track right here. So if I change the name, then that would reflect. So that is the ID of this one. And under track properties, entrainment is assigned. On this one, entrainment is assigned. So before we get too deep into the woods and all of that, let's just generally look at what an entrainment track is. Now, as I mentioned, it is a controller track. So if I selected the Add Node tool here and just clicked along anywhere along this track, then switch back to the pointer tool and dragged here, then I'm creating my ramps. Now, in neural programmer, those are the body of the actual track itself. In Mind Workstation, this is a controller track that would control any of the other content that you had that was linked to this track as mentioned. Now, just briefly, and this will apply to all kinds of tracks in Mind Workstation. If I were to drag this larger, now you can see that an entrainment track is actually a graph, right? And this is the x-axis, which is the time, and this is the y-axis, which is the frequency. Now, the y-axis auto scales to the content when you, especially when you save and reopen the track, then it would scale to show them all. But this is a graph, that's all that is. So it's showing us that we're starting at 8.25 hertz in this case and going upward to 11.75 over 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And then down again to 8.5 over another 5 minutes, ending at 9.42. Now, of course, we could set any of these times that we want here and any of the frequencies that we want here, or by dragging up or down. So let's go ahead and scale that back down. All right. And again, nothing's going to happen when we play the entrainment track. The entrainment track is simply a controller track. Now you can have more than one. For an empty protocol, you can add presets. So if I had a sensory motor and replaced it, there we go. That's a bit different from NeuroProgrammer as well. And there's various protocols that are available that are specifically setting up nodes for you, generally ramps within a certain frequency range in the entrainment track itself. As mentioned, all you need to do to get sound is insert content. Let's do binaural beats. And because of the linkage that's embedded within that command of adding the content, then an entrainment track is automatically linked. And in future videos, we'll show you how to assign an entrainment track for instances that doesn't have that. There you go. They're automatically linked and it'll automatically follow along. So that's a basic overview of entrainment tracks in Mind Workstation.